Hi friends and welcome. If you're new here, I'm so glad you're joining me for Christmas in July, where today I'm sharing a festive compilation packed with high-end thrifted DIY Christmas decor dupes. There are some of my favorite Pottery Barn, McGee Co inspired DIYs. They give you the designer holiday look without the designer price tag. From budget-friendly ornaments and elegant garlands to vintage thrift flips and timeless holiday pieces. Everything in today's video is made to look beautiful, cozy, and high-end, all while keeping things affordable. Whether you're planning ahead, collecting inspiration, or just love a little sparkle in July, I hope this video gets you excited to create your own look for less Christmas magic. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know which dupe is your favorite. It helps so much, and I love hearing from you. Let's get started. That I'm working on came from Value Village, and a friend actually dropped it off. She picked it up, thought of me when she saw it, and knew I could do something with it to make it look a little bit more beautiful. The eyes on this thing were a little bit freaking me out, so I did remove them, as well as this pom-pom that was stuck on here forever. I could not get this off whatsoever. It struggled for a bit. I used a butter knife to try and get it off, but I was afraid I was gonna like cut my finger with the butter knife. But these shears seem to work a little bit better. They're like the metal cutting shears, but I more or less use them as a just to grab on to the pom-pom. So I wanted to say thank you so much for pressing play and watching this video. If you are stopping by for the very first time, my name is Sonia, and over in this channel I share lots of different types of DIYs, seasonal as well as home makeover DIYs, furniture makeovers, and just DIYs in general. So if this is something that interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you get notified when the new videos pop up. So once I removed it, I took a sanding block and just sanded the little bit of glue that was left on it. I do feel that I need to get a new sanding block because the sanding part on it was almost worn out. I did have to use a little bit of a craft knife just to scrape some of it off. Now I was going to dilute my Annie Sloan chalk paint and use it as a stain, but then I remembered that I did purchase this chalk paint at Dollar Tree and remembered how watery it was. So that is what I used, and I just poured directly on it for the first part, spread it out, and then I took a rag and just rubbed it off, and I repeated this process several times. I wanted to make sure that all the areas were not evenly covered up, but nicely covered up. I love doing this type of staining. It just gives it a bit of a different look, I guess, than actually using a stain. Similar look, but there is a bit of a difference. So I did this to the whole deer. It was nice that I could take it apart and do this. It would have been a little bit harder if I was all put together and glued together, because then I wouldn't be able to get into all the crevices. This is messy, so be prepared to get your hands dirty or wear gloves if you don't like to get your hands dirty. I don't love wearing gloves. I wish I did, because I'm always have black nails from paint or whatever paint I'm using that's on my nails, and sometimes it's harder to take off. But I just don't love the way the nails feel. So I just, like I said, kept doing this until I reach the desired look I was going for. So here it is, the whole piece painted or stained, and now I wanted to give him a little bit of decoration around his neck. So I had a piece of jute rope that I tied around like a nautical rope, and then I dug through my Christmas stash and found a little greenery and berry and pine cone decoration. That this actually came off of my old wreath, as well as a little jingle bell that I was going to tie around it with just a piece of twine. I think this just gave him a little bit of decoration because he was very, very simple, but I kind of like how simple he looked. Did not love the eyes, so glad I removed those. And I didn't love the red pom-pom for a nose. I think the deer was cute at one point, but we wanted to give him a bit of a more sophisticated look. I think he's going to look really good on my front porch. So once I tied this up, I did add a little bit of glue just to hold everything in place. For my next DIY, I picked up these bells. Now, to me, these bells looked fairly new. I have not seen them around here anywhere, but I've seen them online at Walmart, so I'm not sure whether that's where these guys came from. And I just wanted to give them a little bit of a gold color, since that was all the bells in my house were kind of a goldish color. So I tried painting them just with the paint, acrylic paint, and I use spun gold for this. But I did find that the coverage wasn't quite what I was hoping for. So I put one coat of this, just a light coat of just paint on its own. And then for the second coat, once they had time to dry, I added a little bit of baking soda to my paint and painted them with that. That gave it a little bit of texture, but I was still leaving some of that dark bronze to kind of look poke through in certain areas. So for the other two, I just went directly with a thicker paint. I just felt that that worked a little bit better, and there wasn't need to do two coats. Once they were dry, to add them to my banister, I just used some twine and tied it up. For my next DIY, I'm using these little hooks because I'm going to be attaching them to these things, and this is a foot. I assume it's a furniture foot. It was an odd piece at a thrift store, so I decided to turn it into an ornament, kind of like a finial ornament. I love these. I've seen them at Walmart. I think my Texas house has maybe a little bit bigger ones, but I or my Texas home. I really like this. You could also use spindles. If you have spindles on hand, you can sand them down or paint them and hang them up. Use them as ornaments as well. I think that would work out well too. So I really liked the natural color, so I did not touch it. You could obviously stain it, paint it, or do whatever you want. Because my front tree in my house, and if you had missed my home tour or any of my decorating videos over on my home channel, make sure you check them out. The link to my home channel is in the description box. But I liked using I like the fact that it was natural wood, because that's the kind of the direction that I want that tree at the front to go, a more of a rustic natural look. So I've been slowly switching out ornaments on there. It's a 9-foot tree, so it is a pretty expensive thing to do, to switch out all the ornaments. So I've been doing it slowly, making some and things like that. So I think this ornament's gonna look really good there. So there was a hole there, so I put through the rope. Originally I was thinking of using the S-hook, but I've decided this might be a little bit of an easier way. So I put a little bit of glue into the hole, and then I made a loop, tied a loop with a rope, and then I pushed the one end of the loop in there, and then I glued it, and then I put some wood glue, threaded it through the little dowel on top, or whatever that's called, and then I put a little bit more hot glue just to hold it in place while the wood glue takes time to cure. You don't want to obviously hang this up right away. You want to let it sit and wait, and that's it. DIY that I'm going to be working on is probably the most involved one, and it is a trash to treasure makeover. I had actually picked this easel up from a friend. She had thrifted it last year. Actually, when we went thrifting together when she picked it up, and then she was no longer using it, so she gifted me with it, which was very nice of her. And I decided to create a sign for my hot cocoa station. I have seen similar signs in last year's videos from the hot cocoa decorating videos, and I absolutely loved it, and I thought I could recreate one since I haven't been able to find one to buy. So I am not going to be painting the wood, but I did want to do something for the face of it, where the galvanized part is. So I had this buffalo check wrapping paper on hand from last year still, and I thought this would look really good as a background for this easel. So I cut it to size, and then I'm going to be using Mod Podge to apply to glue it on. But before I go ahead and add Mod Podge to the easel, I wanted to give it a wipe down, because it felt like it had a little bit of dust or something on it. So I wanted to make sure that it was clean before I put Mod Podge down. And I'm just using a matte Mod Podge and a foam brush to do this. And you just want to make sure that all the little corners have the Mod Podge on as well. I pretty much just wanted to make sure that the whole piece was covered with it. I'm curious, do you guys have hot cocoa stations in your decor? I have started that tradition a few years back, and now it's a must. My kids just love it, and It has kind of grown over the years, bigger and bigger, and now it's almost a centerpiece in my dining room, and I can't wait to be decorating it this year, especially with all the new DIYs that I had created for it. In this video, as well as the previous tier tray videos, I have done quite a bit of hot cocoa pieces. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you head on over to my Christmas playlist because it will be in there. I think I did some in Christmas in July as well for the tier tray. So once I had the Mod Podge on where I wanted, all over the place, I glued the paper on, and you just want to make sure you push out all the bubbles. I have actually had this roller, it's a decompage roller on hand, so I wanted to give it a try, and it came with this little pusher thingy. I don't know what it's called, and so I used both of them to just smooth it out, make sure there's no bubbles anywhere, and also push the little paper into all the corners around the easel.
I can barely find the time to sleep. Yeah, I spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. But this is my favorite holiday. It's a chance to start over new, 'cause I missed you.
So once it was all nicely on there, I cut out another image or piece, I guess, on my Cricut, and I'm just cutting it to size before I put the before I weed it out and put a transfer tape on it. I just wanted it to be easier to handle. This one wasn't as hard to weed out because it was much bigger letters and a bigger design.
I'm letting go of everything but you.
I have been enjoying my Cricut, I think, the most now at Christmas time. I did use it a little bit more at fall, but I have been using it quite a bit for Christmas decor DIYs. I just love all the little things that ideas you can get on Pinterest, and they all require Cricut, so I have been loving creating these. I do know that some of you might not have a Cricut, so I just wanted to say that a lot of these ideas could be done with just printing these out onto just a regular printing tape paper, and maybe even just gluing them onto your surfaces, or using a tape transfer method, which I've done several times before, and you can find that on my on my channel. You could also use the hippo slide, water slides, if that's something that you want to venture out and do. They are probably cheaper than getting a Cricut machine, probably a little bit more work though. So once I was ready, I just added my transfer tape on, took the backing of the vinyl off, making sure I don't pull any other letters with it, and then I was ready to transfer it onto the easel. If you did end up having several bubbles on the wrapping paper, which I did just a couple of them, when you are rubbing the transfer tape and making sure that the letters stick, and you're using your little handy rubbing tool from Cricut, just make sure you're not pressing too hard, because you might catch that little bubble and rip the wrapping paper, tear wrapping paper. So just a little tip, just be careful and gentle when you are rubbing it. I do find that transferring images is a lot easier than transferring them onto an object, a lot easier than transferring them off of vinyl to transfer tape, or even weeding it out. I find it doesn't need as much elbow grease when you're pushing stuff down with that little rubbing tool. So I just love the way this turned out. And to finish it off, I gave it another coat on top of the Mod Podge, just so that way it all kind of looks even and the same. And I use the same Mod Podge as before and the same brush. And you want to just make sure that you get Mod Podge everywhere and into all the corners, so that way the look is even.
These are the good times with you. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire and chill.
For my next DIY, I couldn't believe my luck when I saw these 3 bells on Facebook Marketplace for $10. I was very excited and knew exactly what I wanted to do with them. McGee Co in their catalog has these 3 rattan bells for $188. And as soon as I saw these, I knew exactly what I was going to do with them. They did, as you can see, they're red, they're not very attractive looking, and they smelled really, really bad. So I did take the rusty wire off, and then I ended up giving them a good cleaning to get rid of the smell. For the paint, I did go with a chalk paint in the Annie Sloan Old Ochre, just because it is a beige paint. That was the only reason why I'm using it. I've had it for a while. It is kind of starting to get thick, meaning I need to use it up, so I don't have to add too much water to it. And I've been using it for different projects, and this one was also one of them. And chalk paint also, I find, does a lot better coverage than acrylic paint, meaning you probably won't have to go with it several different with several different coats, especially because I was painting over red. I did get some water and water the paintbrush as well, just to get, that helps to get into little nooks and crannies if the paint is a little bit more wet. And you definitely want to paint the inside and the outside of the bell. Once all the 3 bells were painted and they had some time to dry, I went in with some brown and then also added a little bit more of this old ochre to it, and some water, and I just dabbed it with some paper towel, water, and then into the brown paint, and just to add a little bit of depth to the paint, and so it's not so beige. And you want to blend until it looks like it's always been there. I was absolutely thrilled with the way these turned out. I think they are such a great dupe for those bells, and you never know what you can find in your thrift store or on your Facebook Marketplace. So make sure you keep checking. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Sonia and you're watching Domestic Diva DIY. Today I am excited because I am sharing with you a Christmas DIY thrift store makeovers. I have 2 of them. For the first one, I will be using some red and white paint, and I had picked up this piece of plaque for $1.99 at Value Village. I will also be using some cutout that I had cut out on my Cricut machine. And I had actually used a dollar store vinyl shelf liner, the white one. I thought I'd give it a try, and I used a fine tip blade and just a regular pressure, and it worked out really, really well. So the very first thing that I do is I'll paint the whole thing with a Christmas red acrylic paint. I would also like to mention that this DIY, this video is part of a challenge that I am hosting with my very good friend here on YouTube and off YouTube, Sandra from the Schwoven's Nest, and we had invited any creators that would like to join us to share some thrift store makeovers, trash to treasure makeovers for Christmas. There will be a playlist linked down below, as well as Sandra's channel, so make sure you go check out both after you are done watching my video. Once I was done painting it, I let it dry completely before I moved on to another step. And once it was dry, I took some white chalk paint that I had picked up at dollar store and just drew an outline on the edge of the plaque. I gave that a little time to dry, and while that was drying, I weeded out my writing, and I just wrote out Christmas with the Cricut machine. And then I also used the clear shelf liner from the dollar store to transfer it, and I have to say they both worked really well. Then I transferred it onto the plaque, and I just added a little bit more chalk paint to the edging. And here it is. I thought it turned out super cute, and it's one of those ones that I've seen people buy. I think there were some at Hobby Lobby and at Kirkland's, and we don't have any of those stores, so I thought I'd recreate one. For my next project, I had picked up this frame for $4.99 with chicken wire, and I really liked the way it looked, but I wasn't sure what I would use it for. And then I came up with an idea that would be really neat to make a Christmas card or a picture holder for my daughter. She's doesn't need a huge amount of space to attach her Christmas cards that she exchanged with her friends, and I thought this would be a perfect little hanger for them. I used some red file folders to cut out the little triangles, and then I also have these little clothespins that I picked up at Dollar Tree. And then you need some rope and just some greenery to embellish the corner. I'm also going to use this marker. It is a white, I think it's a water-based marker. So the first thing that I do is I cut out triangles to spell out Noel. Then I spell out Noel on the triangles. Now for where I want to place them, I kind of play around with it a little bit just to see where they go. And then I'd cut the rope to length, and I'm not going to hot glue this rope down just because in case if she ever wants to remove this, it will be just much easier to untie the rope than actually having to pop it off. However, I do glue the greenery down, but that should be fairly easy to pop off if she wants to use it all year round. And I use the little clothespins to clip the letters onto the rope.
But somehow I knew, and maybe so did.
If this is your first time stopping by my channel, I would love it if you considered subscribing, pressing the notification bell so you don't miss out any of my future uploads. I have several more Christmas DIYs left, and then we are moving on to a couple winter ones, and then I'll be taking a little break with maybe some bonus videos over Christmas. I also wanted to say that I have two other channels, a home channel and a cooking channel, and they will all be linked down below. So here it is. I hope you enjoyed this one. I thought it turned out really, really cute.
Just next door, we talk for hours on end, and some.
Hi guys, today I'm going to be making over, sprucing up this vintage old sleigh that I had picked up at a thrift store. Now I paid $40 for it, which was a little bit more than I wanted to, but it was the cheapest I could possibly find for the one that I liked. So I guess it was a good deal in that sense that I was able to actually find one. They ranged from anywhere from like $60 to $100. So I wanted to give it a little bit more brightness by painting over with some red chalk paint. I'm using Emperor Silk chalk paint from Annie Sloan and just dry brushing it on a little bit. Now my paint was kind of dry, so I ended up adding some water, so I ended up having to wipe it off, but dry brushing is what I was going after. And just to give the metal pieces where the red paint was already on, just to brighten it up a little bit. I think that would add the extra color on my front porch to match my sign that I already have there. I also want to mention that this video is part of a challenge hosted by Jamie from Border Bananas. It is her Flipping Friday that she hosts once a month. And if you have not had a chance to see Jamie's channel, make sure you head on over to the description box because I will include her link as well as the playlist to this challenge. Next, I wanted to create a bit of a decor for it. So I'm going to be making a swag to put on top. I had gotten some stuff from my garden, as well as a couple of embellishments like berries and ribbon and pine cones. Pine cones actually came from my garden as well. And I'm going to attempt on making a bow. I am not a bow maker, but I thought I'd give it a try. I have gotten this ribbon from Michael's for my tree, so I had some left over, so I thought I'd use it up. I am using a florist wire to attach everything, and then I'm going to leave a long string at the end, so I'm able to use that to attach the swag to the sleigh. If you haven't seen how I made these bells, I will leave a link in the eye in the sky for you to check them out. They were a great hit and so easy to make, and for $1.25, can't go wrong.
The wonders of life got the prettiest side for everyone to enjoy. Standing up close by the Christmas tree, glimmering light, I am right where I wanna be. I will be home for a couple of days, wander around with you, you and me.
Like I had said before, I am not a bow maker, so I am pretty much just winging this and hoping for the best result possible. And I have to say I was pretty pleased with it. Could have been a touch bigger, maybe something I'll work on. You'll just have to come back and check out my front porch decorate with me and to see if I actually added something or if I left it as is. And that video will be out next Saturday.
And do you like to be here too? It's Christmas, and outside snow's glistening. It's just you and me tonight. I'll spend all this Christmas with you. Oh, it's such a charm, got you up in my arm. There's nobody at the door. You said I wish this will never be over. Darling, it's time for your present, come over here.
I absolutely love when I find something that I'm looking for. I have been looking for this sleigh for so long and I was so excited. I even had my friends looking for a sleigh whenever they went thrifting, just in case if they found one. So I was super excited when I came across this one. Do you guys like thrifting? Let me know down in the comments what was one of your favorite purchases that you had thrifted before. This sleigh is definitely one of mine. There are several others, but this sleigh definitely tops it.
And some kind of love, my friend. Pick up some candy canes and hang a wreath on your door. It's Christmas, and outside snow's glistening. It's just you and me tonight. It's just you and me tonight. It's just you and me tonight. I'll spend all this Christmas with you.
Also would like to say, if you are not subscribed and you're brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Sonia, and I hope that you enjoy this video. And if you do, I would love it if you press the subscribe button and a notification bell so you don't miss out any of my future uploads. I do trash to treasure thrift flips several times a month on my channel, and I do have a challenge coming up next month, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget to press that big like button if you are enjoying what you're seeing. I was just trying to figure out whether I should add these pine cones. They're the long ones. I got them out of my garden. But I did decide to put them on, and I just take some twine and tie it up to the top and then tie it to the back of the sleigh. So here it is. I hope you guys enjoyed my little makeover and sprucing up of this sleigh. I think it's going to look really, really good on my front porch with the rest of the decor, which is all coming to you next week. I'm going to be creating some Christmas urns, and then over on my home channel, I am going to be decorating my front porch. So make sure you are subscribed to my home channel as well so you don't miss out any of these videos coming your way. I would like to thank Jamie for hosting this challenge, and don't forget to check out her channel as well as the playlist linked down below. So until next time, hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching. So we are starting off with a thrifted item, and I'm using some black acrylic paint, some cornstarch. Thrifted item is this deer, and I got it for $10. Was a little bit high, but I really like the size of it. And then I also picked up some Dollar Tree deers to go with it, so 2 of those glass ones. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to mix up the paint by adding cornstarch and black acrylic paint together. I want to create a textured paint, a little bit thicker consistency than what chalk paint would give you, because I really want the brush strokes to show up, especially on this big large deer, to almost give it a look like the fur looks on him in real life. So that's what I was trying to recreate with this textured paint. So I start off with really adding equal amounts of paint to cornstarch, and then you'll see how thick your paint is and how thick you want your paint to be. I did end up adding a touch more paint just because it was a little bit thicker than I wanted it to be. And once I reached the correct consistency for my liking, I end up painting the whole thing, and I am using a bristle brush just because, like I said, I want to really show those brush strokes. I also want to mention that today's video is a pretty special video because it is in collaboration with many talented ladies, and we are giving you tons of Christmas DIY from all over the world. This collaboration is hosted by C from Siege DIY. I will have her channel linked down below, as well as the playlist for this collaboration. So I encourage you to go and check out all the wonderful DIYs coming your way. Because the paint was so thick, I did not need to do it two coats. However, I did really want to get into all the nooks and crevices, so I am using a smaller paintbrush for that, just to make sure I cover all that blue sparkle that this deer was painted with. Now I am also going to be doing the exact same thing with these glass deers. Now this the coverage wasn't going on as well as with the other one, so this did need two coats. And this is what they look like after two coats of paint. If you are following along on my home channel, you probably saw that a lot of my new decor is black, and I wanted to incorporate some of that black into my Christmas decor as well, and I think these deers are a perfect addition to that. So for my first project, I'm going to be creating the St. Jude candles from a Pottery Barn. These are bell-looking candles, and I've wanted to create this for such a long time, all of last year, and I just couldn't find something that would work that I liked. So when my friend asked me if I wanted these, I knew exactly what I'm going to use them for. And I'm also purchased two candles from Dollar Tree, although I should have purchased probably four more. And then I'm going to also add some essential oils to create that cozy winter Christmas scent. So the first thing that I did is I went ahead and I spray painted it. This it will just give me a quick and solid base for these candle holders, and I'm using a metallic gold spray paint to do this. Once the project had fully dried, I went in with a couple different paints just to create that vintage, almost like hammered look that those candles have. So I'm going to be using some metallic, some spun gold, some yellow gold, and then also a metallic cinnamon. And I think this will just give me that look that I'm going for. First, I tried to do it with a sponge brush, which worked okay. But then I went ahead and got my craft brush, craft foam sponge, not brush, and I wetted it, and that worked really, really well. Started off with spun gold, but then I decided to add more colors to it and just blend it in together as I go. So I added some yellow gold, and then later on I add some metallic cinnamon. By blending in all the three colors and plus the base color, it just gave me the depth, and it gave me that vintage hammered look that I was trying to achieve. I also wanted to take a moment to thank you all for giving me so much love on my last two videos. I truly, truly appreciate it, and I am so grateful that you guys are enjoying all of the DIYs that I have been creating. I have been having so much fun creating and even more fun decorating with them for Christmas, as I already started decorating my home. So once I completed one, I did repeat that on the lids as well as on the other jar. I just didn't want to bore you with it. And then while that was drying, I did melt the candles, just putting the candles into the pot of water and boiling the water, which melts the wax. And then I removed the wax strip and added it to my jar, making sure that there was some wax on the bottom of the jar, so that way that will act as a glue. And then I also used a stick just to wrap the wick around, so that way it stays in place. And then when I poured on the melted candle, because I always forget how much less is in there than what the what it actually looks like once it's solid. So this gave me about a quarter of the container of the jar of wax. So I did add a little bit from the other one as well. So that now I have two half full candle holders, which is okay. Next time, because I can always make more if I feel that I burn through it. I don't typically burn through candles a lot because I don't burn a lot of candles in my home anymore, but once in a while I do like to light it up for ambiance. We'll see how much of it I actually use it up. I did end up adding some of the essential oils. I added, well, a little bit more cinnamon than I anticipated because the drops weren't coming out, so I took the thing off of it. But it would be 2 drops of each, and it's cinnamon, pine needles, and orange, and it gives you a really cozy Christmas scent. So now I'm repeating the same process for the other jar, and like I said, I filled it about halfway and then I added the rest to the other jar. And then while that was setting, I wanted to do something for this tip of the jar lid. So I decided to wrap rope around it, and I used a little bit of hot glue to secure the first end of the rope, and then I went ahead and wrapped, adding dabs of hot glue along the way, so that way it just stays in place because it was narrow at the bottom and wider on the top. If I didn't add the glue, the rope kept sliding down, so this just kept it in place. And I did the same thing for the other jar lid as well, so that way they match. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using them together when I decorate, but in case if I do, they will look like they are a pair. And to complete it, I added more hot glue on top just to add the to close up the top, and then I tied it in a knot with leaving a little loop on top of it. And I absolutely love the way this turned out. I am quite happy that I finally found something that I liked for this dupe. Thanks so much for spending time with me during Christmas in July. I hope you found tons of inspiration and ideas for creating a high-end holiday look on a budget. If you loved today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with a friend who's dreaming of a designer Christmas without the price tag. I'll be back with even more seasonal DIYs, budget-friendly decor, and festive inspiration, so stay tuned. And until next time, happy creating, my friends.